Welcome to another episode of Off Leash podcast with Dr. Pete. I'm your co-host, Molly Van Vranken. We're so glad that you joined us for today's show. Remember, we're not here to say what you want us to say. We're just here to be an advocate for your pet. Amen. Simple as that.
Yep.
So we are going to kind of talk about some crazy stuff going on in our area right now. I don't know what happened, but Michigan just decided to be a shit show for like a whole week.
Yeah, we've had some tornadoes and stuff. We had a tornado when I was a kid. I remember I was out with my girlfriend and when I was a senior in high school, and you could hear it raining on the outside, but it didn't sound too bad anyway. So I got out of the theater and took her back to her house and everything. And her mother was there and said, "Well, yeah, your dad called and said you need to get right over there. Our barn had been hit." And
jeez.
They hit the thing and dropped the barn. Didn't do much to the house. Mm-hmm. Dropped the barn, and there were a bunch of cattle in it. And they had one steer had a sore shoulder, and it got better, and that was about it. But the barn was gone.
Jeez.
And my mom had a bunch of antiques in the top of it, and they were all just wrecked.
That sucks.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, we had
happens.
Crazy tornado down in Union City.
Yep.
Or I guess Union City and Three Rivers.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden last night, something in Kalamazoo, what was it? The trash plant decided to catch on fire?
Yeah. Oh, it was outdoor, a bunch of stuff outdoors. It wasn't really that wasn't really the building, the plant. It was a bunch of stuff outside.
Oh my God. We were driving by it and it was just this huge cloud of black smoke in the air.
Sure.
And everyone was frantic. There were car accidents happening around us. It was wild. But what we were going to get on here and talk about today was the importance of microchipping your dog in these situations.
Yep.
So obviously tornado comes through. I don't know. They're still, as morbid as it sounds, they're still looking for bodies down in Union City.
Are there people missing?
Yeah. They think that they found a body in like a field.
Okay. Well, I thought there were 3 people killed, and I think they were all...
I guess like someone got flung into a field.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. The woman.
Oh my gosh.
But you have to remember the dogs were...
You got dogs with you.
Pets.
So if you're in an emergency situation, what do you want to do with your... Because obviously there's some dogs that don't like thunderstorms. Like what do you do in that situation?
Well, I think in this situation, it was a fairly confined area that was involved. And there were a number of people that were there. And so if their dogs got loose, and let's say there were 5 dogs that got loose, most of the time, the local... I don't want to say the dog catcher, but the police and stuff would find these dogs and then take them to a shelter, and then you could go in and identify your dog. But I think the bigger part of this would be like when Katrina hit down in New Orleans, and
there's so many missing dogs.
Yeah, so many missing dogs there, and people don't, you don't even. Let's drive out the shelter. There's no road to drive on out to the shelter. It's like, or our car's gone.
Mm-hmm. So mainly they're transporting these dogs up north. Right?
Sometimes they do afterwards.
Yeah, because they're getting all of them.
Yeah. And that was a concern for us up here because we had heartworm up here, but we didn't have the kind of heartworm they have down in New Orleans.
Right.
Or really for that amount, Houston, Texas, and in Florida and stuff.
So by identifying these dogs, obviously, they take them in. Do they take them into the shelter and scan them?
Yeah, they scan. Everybody gets scanned. Sure.
And then if they do get scanned, does it pop up with your name so they can try to contact you?
Well, in the old days, it popped up with the place that sold the chips. Well, now people call and register their dogs. And so we tell people, listen, if you're going to register your dog, register them. But don't forget, keep the paperwork someplace. And then if you move, let's say you decide to move into another community or something like that, you got to go ahead and change the address. So when they call... And really what's supposed to happen here is you register it and this dog ends up in a shelter and they call the owner and not the veterinarian. If you call the veterinarian on a Friday night at 10 o'clock, there may not be anybody who's going to answer that phone and reply to this for 2 days.
So microchipping, it's safe, it's permanent, it's relatively painless, right, for the dog. Mm-hmm. It's a procedure that significantly increases the likelihood of reuniting the dog with the owner.
Yep. There's a number of companies that do it.
And it said that microchip dogs are likely 20 times more likely to be returned home.
Sure.
And it's like the size of a grain of rice, right?
Yep.
The microchip.
Well, I can remember when these first came out, I want to say this is 30 years ago, somebody brought a dog in, and there was something wrong. It was coughing and doing stuff, and so we took an X-ray of his chest, and I said, "Well, I see you got a microchip in here." They said, "We do," and they said, "Well, my aunt found this dog at a rest stop down in Indiana," and I'm like, "Oh wow, well, let's see who owns the dog," and we called, and it belonged to an MD.
An MD?
Yeah, and these people had the dog for 5 years, and the MD had gone out and got more dogs, or 2 dogs. I think he'd lost 2 dogs, and this was one of them. And so he'd gone out and got other dogs. They said, "Do you want us to bring the dog back?" And he says, "No, if you're, and they wanted to talk to us a little bit. Is this guy providing good care for this pet?" And we said, "Yes, very good. Good client." And I said, "So I think probably if you want to leave it with this person, you're probably in good shape to do that." And they said, "Yeah, because we have enough room in our house for 2 dogs, and 3 probably don't have enough room for." So that dog stayed with the people, and it worked out really well. But that's the very first dog we ever had that,
Wow.
and that dog had gotten loose. The doctor said both his dogs had gotten loose at a rest stop and run away into a cornfield, and they couldn't find him.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was a beagle or something. He saw the chip, and then off and on. We've had people who get their pets back that way. But you're right. If they get picked up, and especially if they get transported, in this case, they were transported 90 miles up here to Battle Creek. And nobody realized this dog had a chip until we took an X-ray of it. So we do that. Every strange cat, every stray dog, every stray cat gets a microchip check.
Yeah. Have you ever had a person that came and microchipped the dog, or like got it scanned and did not want to give it back?
Yeah, that's happened once or twice. And we've had a couple where they come in, they got 2 microchips in them.
What?
Well, otherwise this dog got 2 microchips in it. Because somebody put a microchip in it and then decided to sell the dog, but didn't tell the owner. Didn't tell the owner, and so now it's got 2 microchips. So
that's wild.
So you got to sort that all out too. That's a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but usually, the people will get together. I think, every once in a while we have somebody come in and say a convicted felon or something like that. But when they're with their pets, they're pretty nice people, really. And they're empathetic and polite. Dogs and cats usually, as a general rule, bring out the best in everyody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you
They're
see
the
that.
neutralizers.
And you can usually kind of sort this whole thing out. If somebody, I had a woman came in one time and says, "Oh, I found my cat. The cat that I've been missing for 5 years came back to our house." And I said, "Well, good. I'm glad." And I knew the gentleman that had been married to this woman before, and she was a little different. And so we looked at the cat, and it looked like the same cat to her anyway. So she calls back, 2 months later and says, "Well, my cat came in heat, and you spayed that cat 5 years ago, 6 years ago." And I said, "Well, if it came in heat, it probably isn't your cat."
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It had never been spayed, didn't have a spay scar or anything. So it was some other cat that looked like her cat. And my guess is she was getting up in years and just like
couldn't
everybody
tell.
Gets, yeah, and so she'd kind of forgotten all the details and everything.
Well, that's wild.
But she said it seemed like the same cat did the same thing, sat the same place,
That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
We've had a cat that, Archie, that would come back and live with us, and he'd be gone for 3 or 4 months, and he'd come back and live with us. But I knew it was Archie because he looked the same, except he was skinnier now. And he'd run in the house and go sit on where we put the food up on that bench. And so we knew it was him because he knew us. We knew him. Yeah. Anyway, but he was a great cat. There's a lot of cats that look like great cats. And so you get misidentification from sometimes here and there. But this cat didn't have a chip in it, so we couldn't prove or disprove it was her chip or her cat. This is 35 years ago, probably.
Let's go from microchipping. So it is important to microchip your animal. Always get it done, please, if you want to see them returned. Let's go to tracking devices on animals.
They're not the size of a piece of rice.
Oh yeah, I did a podcast with a few people, and they're trying to get it down to smaller devices, and I feel like as technology improves, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But now they have trackers that radiate off of like cell towers or whatever, so it can tell you like exactly where that dog is at all times.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I've seen the thing where they make a fence. You can digitally.
Yeah, you can digitally. That's what it does, and it uses like all these And I guess they use satellites too to like
Sure.
tell like Google Maps, like,
if
okay,
you,
this is
if
the.
you go stay at a hotel and you want your dog to have 500 square feet outside your ground floor,
I know.
you just go out there and
That's crazy
and
to me.
you make the digital fence, and the dog knows when it goes out there and it goes beep 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 beep, back up, back up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, they've had this on for a bit. They know how the program works.
Yep.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff going on now.
There was a dog at the kennel that I get my dogs from. I don't know if you remember this or not. The dog that went missing, that ran away, and we tracked it for like 2 or 3 days. Went and knocked on every single door. Had these flyers printed out because this dog was basically in training.
Is this a lab?
It was a lab, and it ran away for whatever reason. And we went and hung up flyers and did all this stuff. I think the way that we got it back was a little illegal because they put an air tag on the dog the second. Okay, this is the crazy part of the story. So he ran away. We found the dog in this guy's house because someone gave some tip about, oh, I saw a dog with a blue collar or whatever. He was at this house, and we went over there and looked in the door, and sure enough, it was the dog. The guy did not want to get rid of the dog. It was a hoarding situation, but we ended up getting, I think, the police involved, and
that's what you'd have to do to get the police involved.
But the girl that wanted to go get the dog, that when we found it, was about to bust this guy's door down to get the dog back. So we got the dog back into training, ran away a second time. But this second time, because they have to do it with, the retrieving with like no leash.
Sure.
So it was a little bit one of those controlled environments, and they don't have a fence big enough to do the training in. And it ran away a second time with the air tag, but the air tags only go off of phones. So it's not a very accurate description of where the dog is. But they found the dog the second time pretty easily.
Not at the same place.
Not at the same place. No, but it was, I just remember getting the call the second day.
1 or 2 year old Labrador Retriever.
Yeah. But
nice
they were trying to train it on e-collar, but I think they put it on vibrate, and the dog was just so jittery about the vibrate that as soon as you hit the dog with vibrate, it gone.
Ran away. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
But it was crazy. I think we spent 2 days looking for that dog.
Well, and you found it. That was important.
Yeah. But I mean, there was no way getting the dog microchipped that this guy was ever going to return the dog. He found this dog and was like, this is a damn nice dog. This is one of my dogs now. And he fought at the door for like 5-10 minutes. Nope, this is my dog. This is my dog. And we were like, no, it's not. We know that collar. This is definitely our dog.
Did you call the police?
Yeah, they called the police.
And the police came out. Mm-hmm. And
they were like, they had the e-collar in there, and the e-collar matched the remote that we had, so it was kind of a little hard to deny.
Yep. Should have buried the e-collar and kept the dog.
I know. That's what it was not a good situation. This guy kind of had dogs tied to tires outside of his house.
Yeah. Nah.
It was
good thing you got the dog back.
A little bit of a hoarding situation, but yeah, it was a wild story. But the tracking on the dog is super important, especially if your dog is a wanderer. I don't know that most labs are. I think that like more huskies, dachshunds. My dachshund would run off and never come back. She would need a tracker if I ever let her off leash.
Didn't Bosco swim out in the middle of the lake one time? Almost.
Everyone thought I was an abusive dog owner for that because I was standing at the corner of the lake. Bosco! I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm sure all my neighbors think I'm crazy. But he did. He swam all the way out in the lake. I didn't know that he did because I just let him out to go to the bathroom. And I think my neighbor Diane called me, and she was like, hey, I think your dog's swimming in the lake. And I look out there and I see a little tiny dot. And I was like, oh, shit.
So did you go out with the boat and get him?
No. I kept yelling and he came back.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He made it about 3/4 of the way past, like through the lake, almost to the neighbor's house, and then turned around. I was like, what a dumb dog. But people were out there in their boats watching him.
I'll bet he was tired.
Yeah. Well, he swims in your pool now.
Yeah, I know.
And he'll swim in that pool for a damn hour, 2 hours sometimes before he gets tired.
Yep. Not my idea.
Not your idea?
Nope.
That dog just needs smart pills.
He does.
But no, I think it's super important to get your dog microchipped.
Properly identified.
Some
people do it with tattoos on the lips and underside of the lip and stuff.
No.
And
nobody knows to look for that.
No, I know.
A microchip, I feel like, is pretty universal.
It is, yep. In fact, they're kind of fooling around with microchips now that'll Like if you have a diabetic dog, you put a microchip in it.
It'll tell you.
Tell you what the
Oh,
blood sugar
that's
is.
cool.
Yep.
I imagine as technology expands, that'll become more and more of a
Thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
that you can do, that you can tell exactly. Maybe eventually it'll get to the point where you can microchip your dog and it'll be a tracker as well.
Yeah, it could be hard to say.
I mean,
don't know.
we're in the AI times. I feel
Well,
like you could do anything at this point.
And I'm a veterinarian. And honestly, I mean, we're concerned about people getting their dog back, but we're concerned about diagnosing everything correctly.
Mhm.
So
That would be kind of cool. Eventually, if they could just scan the microchip and then it uploads everything health-wise in that dog's bill of
that'll
health.
happen someday.
Oh, yeah.
That'll happen someday.
So instead of you having like a record, instead of having to transfer records from vet to vet clinic, all they have to do is bring the dog in, scan the microchip, boom, all the things pop up.
Yep.
That's smart. Someone should invent that.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. A universal veterinary scan code.
Yep.
But then the dogs that don't get microchipped, I don't know.
Well, getting back to the situation here in Michigan, I mean, they had 3 dogs, or there were 3 people, three people that were killed. And there was no mention of dogs being lost and that sort of thing, but I'm sure there was some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe there's some dogs that are just wandering around trying to find out where they belong and that sort of thing. And it may or may not happen that they'll find those. But generally in a small community, and this was a town of, a few hundred people.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows whose dog is
Should I
whose
look
dog.
up I'm curious, Union City population. If you look it up on the news, I mean, you will.
Yeah, it's probably only 700 or 800 people, I guess. That would be my guess. Union City, Michigan.
I feel like it's a few thousand.
But when that happened, I had people texting me from around the country. Hey, you all right up there? Yep, we're all right up here.
Population 1,700 people.
Really? That's a lot more than I thought there were.
I know. That's what I thought too.
But it's probably, there's extends quite a ways outside of town and everything.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
And this was on the south side of a lake. And so I've never even been on that lake before. So
Oh, I have multiple times.
Have you?
That's it blows my mind. Did you see the video of the tornado?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wild.
Yeah, it just went right down it could have gone right down the middle of the lake.
Well, the lake was frozen. That was the craziest part about it.
It was?
Yeah. I'll show you the video. I'll re-show it to you.
The lakes are still frozen?
Not anymore, but on that day it was. And I mean, you just see this tornado ripping across the lake, picking up houses left and right.
Yeah. That's too bad.
And especially having something happen so close to home. I mean, I feel like you see stuff like this on the news. I feel like this made pretty big news headlines because I had people texting me all the way down in Georgia and Florida like, are you okay?
Boy, look at all this stuff up there.
I know. Terrifying.
Yep.
Absolutely terrifying.
I don't think it touched down again after it left Union City.
No, but the other tornado ripped the house off of, or ripped the roof off of Menards in Three Rivers.
Yeah. It was probably the same tornado. Yeah. Up, down, up, down.
You think so?
Yeah. It came out of the southwest.
I think it was 2, from what I know. But
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know.
But at the end of the day, what we're saying is microchip your pets. Make sure you put a tracker on them if they like to run away. And make
sure you register them and change the address when you move. Okay. Or change your phone number when you move or when you get a new phone.
Yes, keep them updated.
Keep everything updated.
That's the worst part.
Because eventually they can go back to the veterinarian because they still can go back and figure out who put it in and say, okay, is this person still a client of yours? Yeah, this is their phone number. Well, that's not the phone number we have. This
not
is the
anymore.
address. This is the address we have. Well, it's not the address we have either. So the people moved and switched carriers at one time or another, and now here's where they're at. And
exactly.
And that's from
a problem.
Once you get it put in, that's fine. Put it in, and then some people will go ahead and charge you a yearly fee to keep everything updated, and then other people, it was somebody that had your telephone number as the chip number.
All right, you ready to get some outro music going?
Yeah, we are.
All right, we're supposed to get some more inclement weather today, so hopefully there's no more tornadoes.
Yeah, Michigan, the new Kansas.
Michigan is the new Kansas, man, I'm telling you.
Well, I've been to Kansas before this time of year, and I can remember flew in, we were on a tour or something. They said, okay, here's the building we're in. When the tornadoes hit, here's where you go. You go down this stairway and then take a left. And
that's crazy.
And there's a place down there. And that was like, so we were in 2 or 3 different buildings every time we were in the building. Okay, here's where you hide when this happens. Here's where you hide when that happens.
All right, we're going to start getting those procedures in our office.
And this was in Topeka. And, yeah.
Well, we sure appreciate you guys listening along with us today. Hope we've been able to share some good information that will help you love your animals as much as they love you. Don't forget, always treat the treatable, prevent the preventable, and we will catch you on the next one.
Wishing you all good weather.
Yeah, wishing you all good weather. No more tornadoes.